All right, welcome everyone to City Council meeting for Monday, December 13th, 2021. If I can have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk, to establish a quorum.
Autumn Slane.
Here.
Bill Ott.
Here.
Melissa Green.
Here.
Nick Roberts.
Here.
Terry McClung.
I'm here.
Terry Meyer.
Yeah.
We have 6.
All right, if we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we get started, we have a scheduled public hearing here tonight to vacate a portion of Paxos Street between blocks 12 and 13. So I'd like to hear the public hearing. Is there anybody here who would like to speak for or against this vacation? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Charles Templeton.
Oops, but you got to come up and speak into the microphone. And
It's blinding right here, but
Yeah.
I'm Charles Templeton. I'm the one that applied to vacate that little piece of Paxos, and we would like to do that. It would just be a little bit of added protection to our property, plus it would join our lots with the lots that we purchased a couple of years ago.
all right.
Thank you.
So, yes, I would appreciate it if you guys would.
So we take that you're for it?
Yes, I am definitely for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else who would like to speak for or against this vacation? I don't see anyone running down the hallway, so because of that, I will declare the portion of the public hearing closed. And if we can proceed on with the approval of the agenda, get a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Get a second.
I second that.
Okay, was that Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Okay. I have a couple of items I'd like to add under commission appointments. Ferguson Stewart to renew his position for position 5, and also under new business, I have 2 items. One is adding a resolution for the parks for an excavator trade, and also the last one is a discussion of our December 27th meeting. So does anybody else have anything? If not, can I hear a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So move.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Ott made the motion. I think Mr. McClung seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, get approval for the minutes for November 22nd.
Approve the minutes for November 22nd, 2021?
Get a second?
Second.
All right. Ms. Green made the motion. Mr. Meyer seconded. Any changes, corrections, additions? Hearing none, all in favor of the minutes as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that brings us up to a couple of appointments for, first one is Megan Morris on the Planning Commission for position 6.
I'll make a motion that we put Miss Megan Morris on the Planning Commission, position 6.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of Ms. Morris being on the Planning Commission for position 6, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved. The second one is Ferguson Stewart, who is just renewing his position. It expires January the 1st.
Motion to approve Ferguson Stewart.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of Ferguson Stewart for position 5, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we do have several vacancies throughout some of our commissions. We have a vacancy on the CAPC, the hospital. Parks has 2 positions vacant. HDC and cemetery have none at this point. They're full up for a change. So this brings us to our public comments. We have people here for public comments.
Hello, Ferguson Stewart, 7 Harvey Road, and thank you for my reappointment. I appreciate that. I'm here to represent my chaplain's office and talk about food insecurity in Eureka Springs. So we have, Christmas coming, and one thing we don't think about is maybe somebody going home with an empty belly. We have that happening here. We have 2 food banks, the Flint Street Mission and Cup of Love Ministries. So also a food drop-off point has been established at Penn Memorial Baptist Church. So if you, during your Christmas holiday shopping, have some extra foods, please drop it by those 2 locations or at the Fellowship Hall at Penn Memorial Baptist Church. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Anyone else? I think I see a 0 back there. All right. That concludes our public comments. That brings us up to our new business for an ordinance vacating a portion of Paxos Street between blocks 12 and 13. Get a motion to discuss?
Motion to
Second.
All right. Any comments, questions regarding this? If not, can I get a motion to put the ordinance?
Carry down here.
Beg pardon, Mr. McClung?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we assign this ordinance the number and read it for passage,
And I'll second that.
first reading.
All right, Mr. McClung made the motion, Mr. Myers seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And so moved.
The ordinance number will be 2316. An ordinance vacating a portion of Paxos Street between blocks 12 and 13 in the Freeman addition. Whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas has reviewed the petition of the adjoining landowner to vacate the area defined by the following legal description. All that part of Paxos Street lying between blocks 12 and 13 of the Freeman addition to the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and being more particularly described as follows: commencing at the northwest corner of said block 12 for the point of beginning, then south 216 feet to the southwest corner of said block 12, thence south 89 degrees 58 minutes 44 seconds west 40 feet to the southeast corner of said block 13, thence north 216 feet to the northeast corner of said block 13, thence north 89 degrees 58 minutes 44 seconds east 40 feet to the point of beginning, containing approximately 0.2 acres more or less. And whereas Section 1454-1042 of the Arkansas Code Annotated allows the City Council to vacate certain streets, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that Section 1, the section described above is hereby vacated and titled is hereby vested in fee simple to the adjoining landowner. Section 2, all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3, that in the event that any section, paragraph, subdivision, clause, phrase, or other provision or portion of this ordinance shall be adjudged invalid or unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity of this ordinance, code section, or chapter as a whole, or any part or provision other than the part so decided to be invalid or unconstitutional, and the remaining provisions of this ordinance, code section, or chapter shall remain in effect.
Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance 2316 on its first reading.
I'll second.
Mr. McClung made a motion to pass it on first reading. Mr. Myers seconded. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved. Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 2316 for its second reading by title only.
Second.
All right, Mr. McClung made a motion to read by title only. Mr. Myers seconded. Discussion? We need a roll call on that.
Yes, sir. Mr. McClung?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
6-0. Ordinance number 2316, an ordinance vacating a portion of Paxos Street between blocks 12 and 13 in the Freeman addition.
Mr. McClung.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance 2316 on the second reading.
Second.
Mr. McClung made the motion to approve it on second reading. Mr. Myers seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's so moved. All right. That brings us up to our second item is an ordinance for an at-large Parks Commissioner. Get a motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second?
Who was that, please? Bill.
Ott.
Mr. Ott made the motion to discuss, and Ms. Lane seconded. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
In your packet, you have an ordinance allowing us the opportunity, the Parks Commission, to establish up to 2 members who live outside the city limits to be on the parks. As you note, when I was reading the commission terms and everything, we have 2 positions vacant. We have a hard time keeping these positions vacant. Parks Commission also, since this is probably one of the largest, certainly has use and control over most of the land around the city of Eureka Springs. They have a lot of people, a lot of activities going on. And so they always kind of need a full commission because there's a lot of activities and a lot of things needing to be done. The ordinance you have, there's 2 items in here I'd like to get conversation. One is under section 1 it talks about the commission is hereby amended to allow, and I'd like to have the commission make a motion whether we want to do a discussion 1 or 2 members. Now that doesn't mean that both members have to live outside the city limits. It just gives the Parks Commission and this council the opportunity to nominate and approve people who live outside the commission.
Do we need to wait till we move to pass before we amend?
We can go ahead and make that motion
I would
now.
move we amend it to 2 members.
To 2?
Yes, sir.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this item? Ms.
I
Lane?
mean, is that what we should do?
Well, we'll have to read the ordinance and everything, but it's up
Okay.
to the commission. I mean, the parks it doesn't mean that there are going to be always 2 people from outside the city limits.
Right.
But it just gives them a bigger pool of people to choose from.
I mean, I guess my first question is, if we're going to do it for this, why would we not do it for the rest of the...
Because we can't do it by state law.
Okay.
This allows us by state law to do it.
Thank
Up to 2 members.
Okay, okay.
Ms. Green?
Why would we not, on the CAPC, we do the whole county, and I would
It's a
like...
different state law.
Okay.
We're dealing with parks.
So we have to stay in
Parks has their own law
Okay.
and state law that
Okay.
allows this. In fact, Parks allows only 2 members, if I'm not mistaken.
It's 2, I believe, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think CAPC allows 1.
No, the whole commission.
Okay.
We've gone through this, but
All right. Well,
we have the
anyway,
whole
it's
county.
it's a different law.
That's not
Okay.
true.
So,
Yes, it is, Terry.
all right. Any further discussion on 2 members? All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The second item, and this is just kind of verbiage, and I don't know whether the commission or the council has a comment or not. Mr. Weaver and I talked. If you read on, it says members of the commission to reside without the commission, or without the corporate city limits. Both Mr. Weaver and I feel like the words outside should be probably substituted.
Where are we reading this, Mayor?
Continuing on, 1 or 2 members of the commission to reside, it states without the corporate city limits.
Okay.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, within, without, I can understand it, but
Is that legal speak?
Mr. Weaver and I think keeping it simple outside works. So,
Okay. So we're
That's
changing-
okay, if I can get a motion to approve that change.
So move.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, what I was doing was trying to get this without doing the amending all this ordinance. So, all right, now I'll take a motion to assign this ordinance a number and read for approval.
I
So
move
moved.
to give the ordinance a number and read it.
All right, Ms. Green made the motion, Mr. Ott second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so moved.
The ordinance number will be 2317, an ordinance amending the enabling ordinance of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas regarding the makeup of the City Parks Commission. Whereas the commission has in the past traditionally had difficulty in obtaining enough member volunteers to have a complete commission, and whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas has been advised of the need for a full commission to conduct parks business, and whereas state code does authorize parks commissioners to reside outside the corporate limits of the city served, and whereas the current city code requires all members of the Parks Commission to reside within the corporate city limits. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that the Eureka Springs Municipal Code is amended as follows. The membership of the Eureka Springs Parks Commission is hereby amended to allow 2 members of the commission to reside outside the corporate city limits of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Any member living outside the corporate city limits shall be required to reside within the Western District of Carroll County, Arkansas. This change shall have no other effect on the requirements to hold office as the City of Eureka Springs Parks Commissioner, nor shall it otherwise amend the Eureka Springs Parks Commission. Section 2, provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared to be separable, and if any provision shall for any reason be held illegal or invalid, such holding shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinances and resolutions, or parts thereof, in conflict herewith, are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict.
I move to approve on the first reading.
Second.
Was that Mr. Roberts? Oh, Mr. Ott, I'm sorry. Ms. Green made the motion, Mr. Ott seconded to approve on first reading. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved.
I move to suspend the rules and place ordinance 2317 on its second reading by title only.
Get a second?
Second.
I got a motion by Ms. Green, Mr. Ott seconded to place this ordinance on 2317 by second reading by title only. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Ms. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Ott?
Yes.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
6-0. Ordinance number 2317, an ordinance amending the enabling ordinance of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas regarding the makeup of the City Parks Commission.
Okay, get a motion to approve.
So move.
Mr. Ott made a motion, get a second.
I'll second.
Ms. Green second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved.
Okay, I move to suspend the rules and place ordinance 2317 on its third reading by title only.
Second.
All right, got a motion to, by Ms. Green, to put this ordinance 2317 on its third reading by title only, and second by Mr. Ott. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
Ms. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Ott?
Aye.
6-0. Ordinance number 2317, an ordinance amending the enabling ordinance of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas regarding the makeup of the City Parks Commission.
I move to approve on the third reading.
Second.
All right, Ms. Green made a motion to approve. I think Mr. Meyer seconded.
Yes? Okay. Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
6-0.
Okay. I noticed you have an emergency clause. Was that put in? Okay. I move,
Instead of waiting for 30 days, it will
Okay.
take effect immediately.
I move to invoke the emergency clause and read it.
Second.
All right, we got a motion to invoke the emergency clause by Ms. Green, second by Mr. Meyer. Any further discussion?
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
Ms. Lane?
Yes.
6-0. Emergency clause, whereas time is of the essence due to the need for a full commission, and in order to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the people of the city of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, emergency is hereby declared to exist, and this ordinance shall become effective upon its passage by the City Council of Eureka Springs and upon the affixing of the signatures of the city clerk and the mayor of the city of Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
All right, thank you, council members, and I'm sure Parks will be excited over this. We can get some people involved. So anybody out there that lives outside the city limits, please put your application in. That brings us up to resolution amending number 810, the COVID funds for employees. Get a motion to discuss?
So moved.
Second.
We had when we presented the resolution last time, we had not only a mathematical error, basically we had forgot to include some people, several people, in fact. We didn't realize that until after we had gotten into the office the next day and realized that we had messed up. So this resolution basically clears that up and gives it the COVID funds that we had approved last time from $93,000 up to $113,000 to include the employees that we had missed. So get a motion to
I make a motion to sign this resolution and number for passage.
I'll second that.
all right, Mr. Meyer made the motion and Ms. Lane second. Further discussion? Oh, Mr. McClung? Yes, sir.
Yeah, are you sure you got them all this time?
Mr. Clark assures me we have, and we went through a bunch of checks today, so,
Okay.
I think we do have everybody
check,
that's supposed
so.
to. Yep. I don't think we're going to be coming back again
Okay.
on that. All right, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Ms. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
6-0. The resolution number will be 813. A resolution to correct a portion of Section 1 of Resolution number 810 passed by the Eureka Springs City Council at its regular meeting on November 22, 2021. Whereas it has subsequently been determined the total amount appropriated in Resolution number 810, Section 1, should have read $113,000 instead of $93,000. This resolution is changing the amount to correct Section 1 of Resolution number 810, passed by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, at its regular meeting held on November 22, 2021. This is the only change being made to Resolution number 810. Now therefore be it resolved by the Eureka Springs City Council that this resolution be approved to facilitate the execution of Resolution number 810 for the benefit of the employees of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
All right, thank you. This brings us up to our item number 4, discussion of expanding the food truck lottery sites.
Motion to discuss.
Second?
All right. Ms. Green, you want to take off, or?
Yeah. I know when this started a few years back, there was a lot of controversy, and I think a lot of that's gone away. What I've had a lot of constituents and, people that I deal with have said they're nice having those food trucks because people can't always come downtown. we're so busy right now finding parking and stuff. They really have become a need for a lot of our workers. I don't think, at the time we thought they'd be cutting into brick and mortar. I don't think they're cutting into brick and mortar. I don't think they're cutting into McDonald's. I think they serve a purpose. We have a lot of workmen. We have people like me that's out running around, and McDonald's is about our only place, and God, you can wait 30, 40 minutes to get something there, so it's kind of nice to have some other choices. And I think, with this lottery, there's up at the farmer's market, that place lost, and there's a great food truck up there that everybody loves, and I think it's a loss for our city. And I think people that go up, to the farmer's market enjoy that, having that there. So I would like Tim to write up an ordinance that we increase the number of spots on Highway 62.
How many?
I would say 3.
Can I speak freely?
Oh, absolutely.
I was wondering if maybe we could just get rid of the lottery altogether. Because really, people are setting up shop, and then a year later, they're debating whether they can even continue
Right.
business.
I agree.
I think
Yeah.
it's just kind of scary.
Mr. Ott?
I would hope that we would, do whatever needs to be done, whether it be amend this ordinance or draft a new ordinance that would embrace the entrepreneurial opportunities for people who might want to offer a food service but can't afford to either lease or buy a brick and mortar location. Plus, it extends the hospitality aspect of our community, of which it's our only industry. So, this would be good as a stopgap, but I would hope we wouldn't stop there. I would hope we would study and look perhaps what other cities have done in our region that have made it much easier for people who want to do this. I understand that we don't want to hurt the brick and mortar restaurants, but I think these kind of fill in the space that don't provide what they might provide. So I would hope that we could do that. So I'm very much in favor of not only this, but also making it easy for those who might want to express their entrepreneurial prowess to do so.
Madam Clerk, you have a comment?
Yes, a lot of folks don't realize how many opportunities we already have based not on another city's model, but on this particular city's characteristics and needs. And presently, there are 5 opportunities that I can think of right now where food trucks can be set up within existing regulations. So it's not as if the lottery is the only option. I really am in favor of adding more spots on the highway because that is the easiest fix for the problem that arose by having too few on the highway. Right now, parks can have food trucks at Lake Leatherwood or any other place that there's room, but that's primarily the area. Festivals, the way that particular code is written, for instance, Zombie, there were at least four food trucks shoehorned into an existing lottery property on Center Street for that event. It began when the event began, and they closed shop at the end of that festival period. So that's an opportunity that involves city events. Private events, for instance, when the folks up on the highway across from Route 62 have events, they can already bring in a food truck and be responsible for collecting and remitting the taxes. So that covers private events. We have the lottery. We also have a situation where, for instance, if there is this was one of the first ordinances written, and I have all the related ordinances here. and it sprang from concern about a food truck being next to a restaurant when the restaurant was closed. And so that ordinance related to the ability of a food truck to be open when the adjoining business is open. For instance, Got a Hold had a food truck for a while, and by virtue of the fact that the food truck can only operate when Got a Hold was open, the guests had access to the facilities. The same was true here on Main Street, where Pirate was set up when Kenton had a beer garden. Also with the brewery out on the east side of town. So there are multiple opportunities right now, and Bobby goes and checks to make sure there's adequate ingress and egress. He decides whether it's appropriate for there to be plug-in or a generator. And so there is oversight and guidance, and we go to great lengths to try to make it possible for people to achieve that goal, but still fit the needs of the people around. I don't know how many folks remember that one White Street walk.
Okay,
There was
let's kind of,
okay, so
we'll see where you're coming from.
Well, we don't need to recreate the wheel, but there is a simple solution for an existing problem, and I think you nailed it.
All right, Mr. Meyer?
You remember the last time this came up was the guy across the street from Legends there. And he's there. He just modified his location to where he could pass as a permanent location. And so
Yep.
the one that's up there at the community center could do the same thing. There's plenty of ways to work it out. It's not like we have to reinvent the wheel.
Mr. McClung?
Well, the difference in that situation was the fellow across from Legends owns the real estate.
Yep.
They don't own the real estate there where,
Oh, they could lease it and it'd be the same thing, wouldn't it?
well, they'd have to make it permanent.
Yeah.
They'd have to put in a permanent structure.
And that was really expensive.
And so but at the same time, if you want to add some, okay. But I think you better keep it as a lottery or something and keep control of it and not, bend every time the wind blows. You can't do that either, and that's what's happening here. I mean, I would be real cautious about what you're going to do.
Mr. Meyer?
I think you're right. And I think that if we're going to add more, I think we should add them for the next lottery instead of making an exception at this lottery, because then we shouldn't have had a lottery if we were going to say, oh, good grief, yeah, we're going to let some more people play the game.
We could
Mr. Ott?
Go ahead, Jean, go ahead.
we could have an ordinance written, and we could have another lottery when we get the ordinance written.
We have an ordinance. All we need to do is amend it.
Right. Okay, when we amend it, we can have another lottery for the spots that are open. I hate to make somebody that has contributed wait a year to be back in business.
Yeah, what happens if they lose the lottery? They
Yeah.
literally have to move?
You can still lose the lottery.
Mr. Ott?
I mean, I think that's the point here.
No.
Just one.
Yeah,
Mr. Ott?
that's one of the points that I see, is that if someone had a food truck, name came up in the lottery, and by putting that food truck in, they made some capital investments for that location, at that location, and then they don't win the lottery the next year, they're out of luck for the investment they made. And so I think that amending this to allow more would not hurt. I think it would help. I think it would add to not only our ability to serve the public that come in from out of town, in addition to the brick and mortar restaurants, which are wonderful in this town. But I also think that it hopefully would disallow people who might win the lottery and then never put in a food truck. They say they want to put in a food truck, but they never do. Then they're holding on to that for X number of months.
There's a part in our ordinance that states that they got to put it in within so many months or
And
they
it's,
lose it.
isn't it 6 months?
Yeah, or they lose it.
May
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. McClung?
yeah, it's also the property owner that puts in for the lottery, not the purveyor.
I know, but if the food truck doesn't go in, that means there's a 6-month period where what could have been a food truck is nothing.
Okay? So?
Well, but if someone else was wanting to put in at or near that location, they're disallowed because they didn't have enough spaces for him or her to win the lottery.
No, we just can't solve every problem, can we?
But we can work hard to do it.
No, we can't.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make a motion for Tim to write up an ordinance to increase the, I think it's Highway 62 and Highway 23, to increase that, to add 3 more.
You mean to amend?
Yeah,
What we have.
I'll make a motion.
From 2 to 5?
2 to 5, yes.
2 to 5.
For the next draw.
And write an and have another lottery?
And have another lottery after, if we approve it.
For those additional 3.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion. The motion is that we will increase Section 5D, Highway 62 and Highway 23 South, from 2 property permits to 5 property permits to be included in a new lottery?
Yes.
Okay.
So then it would be, how many total?
5.
Oh, okay, that would be grand total,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just 5 on the highway.
No, be
Yes,
5, yeah,
5 on the
5 on the
highway.
Highway, but
Yeah.
it's a long,
In Section D.
So you end up with a total of 8.
Okay, that's what, yeah.
All right, Mr. Meyer, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just think we ought to, that's fine to add that, but I think we ought to just add that for the next lottery, not have a special lottery for that.
Any other
It's
comment?
fine to do expansion, but it's
Ms. Swain?
I'm just not sure we should do that many.
I'm sorry. would
I'm
you-
not sure we should just do that many. I think we should up it, but I don't know if it should be by
By 3 more?
3 more.
Okay.
That's my thought.
can I ask Madam Clerk a question? Since you deal with it and you deal with the people coming in, do you think 3 is appropriate, or would 2 be appropriate? You're the one that deals with the people that come in.
Not every spot gets filled.
Okay.
And so if you did say 3, that would leave lots of room, but there's no loss if that number of property owners don't sign up.
Right. And it would probably cut down on the lottery in the sense that I don't think we're going to have that many food trucks coming into.
It really is a good solution, and the other deal is that if a person does win, if the property does win the lottery, and that person doesn't have an active food truck by, when the season begins, May 1, it defaults to a property that didn't win. So
All right, Mr. Ott?
I think if we're going to change it and add the 3, I think we should have the lottery for those 3 immediately, if not sooner, for the simple reason.
That's part of the motion,
Okay, all right.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, there's a motion on the floor to increase it from 2 properties permits along Highway 62 and 23 South, along the highway basically, from 2 to 5. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Now,
Uh,
Mr. Mayor?
let's do a roll call here.
Mr. McClung,
Yes?
Mr. Meyer,
no,
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Ms. Lane,
Yes.
Mr. Ott,
Aye.
Mr. Roberts.
yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just to qualify, this is to approve preparing the ordinance. It doesn't approve the ordinance.
Correct.
So
Right.
we'll see how it gets written, and we'll go from there.
Okay. All right, we got a motion, anyway, that's a motion, is for Mr. Weaver to have the ordinance ready by next meeting. All right.
Merry Christmas.
All right, that takes care of that item. The next item is, in your packet is a resolution for authorization of trading an excavator by the parks. Get a motion to discuss.
So move.
Second.
I think the Parks Director is here. Mr. Miskell, you want to come up? I mean, I can explain it, but I think you have a better opportunity to explain exactly the
Yes, thank you. This is a little bit of a unique situation. An excavator is a piece of equipment that's similar to a backhoe, or it is a backhoe in reality, but it's on tracks, so you can get it into areas that you couldn't get our tractor, for instance, which also has a backhoe. The one that we have right now is a Kubota U25 excavator. It's several years old. It was purchased used when the downhill trails were installed. The company that was installing those trails used this backhoe that we have now, or mini excavator, and we needed one. It was a previous director purchased it, but in reality, it's one that's a little too large. In fact, quite a bit too large for our needs. It is one that has a very wide base on the tracks, and so we can't get it on many of our trails. Our trails coordinator, Sam Dudley, is here, and he can certainly come up and answer any questions that you might have about the specifics. But just recently, he had the opportunity to use a U17 excavator that was on site with another company that was doing some trail realignments for us. When he had the opportunity to use the U17 excavator, he realized it was extremely more useful. He was able to get it onto trails that we couldn't get the U25. In addition, the U17 is still under warranty. It's a few years. It's a few years newer than the one that we currently have. Mr. Dudley did check on prices to try to find out if they're comparable, and although it's difficult to compare prices on equipment like this, he said that he did find that they were very comparable in price, partly because the U17, the smaller excavator, is still under warranty. We spent over $2,000 already this year on maintaining the U25, and so we expect that in the long run we'll save quite a bit of money, and it's just all in all a better deal for us. You might ask then, well, why would this other company be willing to swap one? Well, they have two of the U17s, and just like Mr. Dudley was able to use the smaller, the U17, and realize that's perfect for us, since they have two of the U17 excavators, they realized that this larger one would come in handy for them from time to time when they need to move larger rocks, which now that our trails are built, we don't have the need for lifting the large rocks that they had that one for. So all in all, this is a good deal for us. It is something that, again, Mr. Dudley can speak to if you have any specific questions about how it operates or any other reasons why this is a good deal for us. But I did have our maintenance person check it out today, and he said everything checked out just fine. And so we believe that this is definitely in our best interest.
Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion that we assign this resolution number and read it for passage.
Second.
All right, Mr. McClung made a motion to assign a number and read for passage. Ms. Green seconded. Any further discussion? Mr. Myers?
Yeah, I just, Sam, how many hours are on that new one?
You're going to have to either come up or relay it to Mr. Miskell.
Sorry, I'm tired. I was hauling a bunch of lumber today. The U-25 that we currently have is 2,500 hours, and this U-17 that we're possibly going to trade for has 900, so we're
It's
substantially less. Yeah.
Good tracks and everything.
Good tracks, expandable tracks too, mind you. Yeah, you can suck them in, make it real narrow, and or
Oh,
widen
really?
them out. Yeah, it's
Oh,
super
that's going to be handy.
Yeah.
Such a deal.
Is
I
it a
know,
diesel?
man.
Is it a diesel or is it
It's
a...
diesel. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks.
Yeah, man.
Ms. Lane, did you have a question?
How long is the warranty for on the new one?
It's 1 year left on it,
1 year
which
left,
is one
okay.
more year than our current one
Right.
has. So yeah.
Thanks, Sam.
Congrats.
Hi, Nick.
How you doing?
Any further questions, comments? All
Thank
right.
you.
Hearing none, have a roll call?
Ms. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. Ott?
Aye.
Mr. McClung?
Yeah.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
6-0. The resolution number will be 814. A resolution to authorize trading of excavators by Parks Department. Whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, having been informed of the needs of the City Parks Department with regards to a smaller excavator to use on trail maintenance and construction, and whereas the City Council has estimated that it is economically feasible to trade the Parks Department's current excavator to Jagged Axe Trail Design, and whereas the City Council has determined that the city currently owns a Kubota U-25 in good working order. Jagged Axe Trail Design owns a Kubota U-17, which the city believes to also be in good working order. And whereas the U-17 is newer and it is believed that the approximate value of the two excavators is similar, with the U-17 possibly being more than that of the U-25. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that the city is hereby authorized to make a straight trade of excavators with Jagged Axe Trail Design with no additional compensation. Furthermore, the mayor is hereby authorized to assist and oversee the Parks Department as needed.
All right, thank you. We'll get that going. All right, that brings us up to our last item. Get a motion to discuss our December 27th meeting.
So move.
Second.
All right, I am going to be out of town. I don't know what other people's Christmas holidays are looking like, so it's up to the council whether or not, normally we don't have the last meeting. This is our only meeting of the month. So, Mr. Ott?
Santa would like to have no meeting on the 27th of December. I so move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, discussion? Anybody want to have a meeting?
Doesn't sound.
All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion of not having a meeting on the 27th, signify by saying aye.
Ho, ho, ho.
All those opposed, I'd say like motion, but, all right, hearing none, we will convene back in January in our next meeting on that. That brings us up to our agenda setting. Anybody right now?
Well, how does that work? It would be for January,
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yeah, but we can always
This
come
is
up with
it.
it any time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right, council comments. Mr. McClung, I'll start on your end.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. That's all I got.
All right. Mr. Myers.
Okay. Eureka relies heavily upon its citizen volunteers. The many city commissions are made up of unpaid persons who take time out of their personal lives to serve the community. These volunteers do not go unpunished. Any mistake made by a commission is immediately pointed out as a possible subterfuge that there is some secret motive. Lawsuits are directed at these volunteers. One of these commissions is the Historic District Commission. This commission has a thick rule book that guides them in the preserving of the city's qualification as a historic town. There are benefits from this classification, such as grants that other cities are unable to get. Tourists come to our historic town because of the many unique homes and buildings. Anyone who has made their living here in the tourism-related business should know how important our historic district is. All who have lived and worked here, who own a historic home, should know they have a responsibility to preserve that history. All of us that are elected to serve the citizens of this city should know that suing the city and its volunteer commissioners is not in the best interest of their constituents. Mr. Ott, will you please resign from your position on the council?
Ms. Swain?
That's all.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. That's all I got. Thank you, Eureka.
All right. Ms. Green?
I'm going to echo a little bit of Harry. I'm probably not going to be quite so dramatic, but it does hurt as commissioners what we put up with. And I was on the Historic District Commission for 14 years, and at one point I got to see a very masterful closing argument from our city attorney about selfishness. And when we take a house from contributing, you may think, oh, so what, it looks better this way. You're taking something out of our stable, and it's slowly been whittling down. And I hope we don't have the Preservation Society come up and do another survey, because we might be in very sad shape. And so it hurts when stuff is done, and it hurts when commissioners and city council people and the mayor, when we're attacked. I mean, basically, what do we make, $2,000 a year? It's not always worth that kind of money to put up with some of the abuse that we put up with.
You're attacking him right now.
No, I'm not.
All right, hold on.
I don't even know what the hell's going on.
I don't either.
This sounds pretty sour to me.
We're being sued.
Let's hold it, let's keep
You
it
don't know?
comments.
He's suing the city.
Let's keep it comments. Keep it. Ms. Green?
I'm done.
All right, Mr. Roberts?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we hope we start the next year off with a little bit better note.
Mr. Ott?
Mr. Mayor, I've got some stuff I want to say, but I don't know if I should address what has been thrown out there during these comments or not. But for those people who are supposed to be knowledgeable of the Historic District Commission's rules and regulations, there are provisions for appeals or for an appeal, and the citizens of this town can take advantage of that if they feel that they need to. So I would hope that those people who are most knowledgeable of the HDC would look at that, understand what an appeal is, and understand that that's exactly what it is. With that said, I'd like to wish everybody once again a Merry Christmas. Putting on my Santa hat, I'd like to let everyone know that the last Santa in the Park is this Saturday from 12 noon to 12 p.m. in Basin Spring Park. I would like to thank the CAPC. We have 2 members on our council here who are members of that. I would like to thank you all for supporting that endeavor. It's brought in a lot of welcoming feelings of visitors to our town. Santa always asks when people come up to get their picture taken with him, he always says, "Where are y'all from?" And when they hear the word y'all, they think I'm from the South Pole rather than the North Pole. But I've done an unscientific polling survey, and the results have been very revealing. It's amazing the people who come from a good distance to Eureka Springs on the weekend during the holidays. Again, I wasn't keeping a fence post listing, but it seemed like in the last 2 weekends, we've had more people here in this order from the Kansas City area, followed by the Oklahoma City area, then the Tulsa area, then I-49 corridor. And I'm proud to announce that we even had 2 ladies this past weekend, who came all the way from Russia just to see Santa in the park. Well, it may not be the only reason, but they were here from Russia. So just people from all over. So again, thanks to everyone has come to see Santa in the park, has brought your children or grandchildren, and it's a nice event. It's in the park is so beautifully decorated, and downtown is just really is great on the weekends. So I invite those of you who have not been down to come on down, see Santa, and have your picture made, and enjoy downtown Eureka Springs. And with that, I'll say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
I have just a few comments here. First of all, I want to thank the Parks Commission. I think Scott's already gone, but also Public Works for their hard work in getting the downtown decorated and looking festive for our visitors to come in. But also our shop owners who have done just a wonderful job in decorating the downtown and putting lights up. And if you missed the living windows, that was last Saturday, I believe, Saturday evening, you missed a heck of a show. I think we're probably maybe the only city in Arkansas that has the living windows activity. I wish they would go on every other weekend, but I know that's hard to do. But within that, I also want to make known to all of our residents, we put out letters and comments on the city website that we need your help in getting broadband coverage. I think Mr. Stewart may have mentioned it briefly, but Eureka Springs is working with the Carroll County Internet to prepare grant applications, getting funding so we can have reliable, quality, and affordable fiber optic broadband internet with sufficient speeds for everyone, not only in the city but also outside the city. If you go on the internet or the web page, it looks like we are all well covered with internet, and we don't need to do anything. But as we all know, which almost everybody has internet, it's unreliable, it's slow, frustrating, to say the least. So we are asking, there's a survey, and we're working with Berryville and Green Forest and Holiday Island, but we're trying to get access to high-speed broadband. And so there's a survey that I'm wanting businesses and residents alike to answer. They're just short 6 questions, real simple, easy to ask. On the web page, we have a long, drawn-out website that you have to type in, but there's a simple way, and it just is basically we're testing the speeds of your computer. So you can type in speedtest.arkansas.gov. That's easy to remember, speedtest.arkansas.gov. You'll go in and hit start, and it measures your speed of your computer. You download and upload, and you'll be amazed at how slow the computer is. Even if you have Cox cable, the cable, I should say, or DSL or whatever, it's pretty bad. So please do those surveys. It's going to help us with our results to be recorded, and then we can submit that to the state. And hopefully, within a few months, we'll be able to get a grant to start the engineering study to get broadband, which we've been talking about for years, get it started. And maybe we'll actually have, before the year's out, fast, reliable internet for Eureka Springs and the county, including Holiday Island and outside of the city. So once again, it's speedtest.arkansas.gov. So I really appreciate you all doing that. And I want to say Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas to everybody, Happy New Year's, and I hope you all have a safe and happy holidays coming up. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Get all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? If so, you can stay around. All right, thank you all.